Doc here from North America. My clocks are wrong somewhere. I thought it was 28 after. Obviously, it's 32. Anyway, there we go. Let's get going. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and happy to hump day. Now, it's the middle of the week. We'll be starting off and seeing what's going on the, let's check it out here, the chat line. But I thought it was 28 after. Surprise, surprise. All right, there we go. Let's see who's here today. Oh, there we are. Click diddy do dot. We're getting a commercial now. Okay, excellent. I see Namo, hello, and Ferris, excellent. See a bit, both of you there. Let's get the fact check spreadsheet up. There we are. Let's kill the volume on that. There we are. A little surprised I was late, but here I am. All right. Starting off with. I was looking at AUD. Oh, wrong one there. Let's close that. Oh, just open up. There it is, right there. The Dookie Day sheet where it shows all the different, currencies that we watch. Looking very, very interesting as usual here. You can see that the Swiss franc is dropping, which means the dollar is going down in value, and the Swiss franc is becoming more valuable. That's what we're seeing there. Let's put her up on this. Well, here, I'll just show it to you on J4X as I get the other one up. You can see it there. Big red hinky ashy heading south. And let's go find it on our work there. There we go. You can see it there too. See the pressure on it. Let's see if we can move this over. Guess we can move this over like so. Like that. There we are. That shows that. And I guess we move this over just a little bit more like so. There we are. And you can see we've broken the 90 area. That has been something that bounces off of it, goes to it, bounces off of it, goes to it. You can see we've even drawn lines in there about how over the last 6 months, I guess August, September, October, November, December, last 5 months, it's been a range that it's been trapped inside of. And so you can see the dollar, in this case here, we think that the Swiss against the dollar is probably like the best emphasizing, kind of accentuating, well, I don't know what of other fancy words I can come up with, but what it comes down to is I think it's the clearest view of the action in the dollar. Now, I was a little surprised as I say that. I'm going to give you an example that says that maybe I'm a tad wrong, but I still think it's a very good way of watching the dollar. We saw the dollar index yesterday actually go up, and I was a little surprised about that, especially with this big drop we had here. Now let me go over to the dollar index and I'll show it to you. Right, it's around here. There it is. Now yesterday they did that. Today they're doing. Oh, now that's curious. All right, so now they're doing the same thing. It's dropping in value also, which it should be doing. So let's just reload that. That is exactly what we would expect, is to see this thing go down, not go up. Now I want to double check something because we thought it had given us a signal that it was going up. Not there. Nope. Okay. Obviously I'm wrong on my memory on that one. All right, so here you have it, is that it's moving down just as the Swiss is moving down. So it's moving right. Now you're seeing here they're challenging this particular low area, and you can see our work is pressing down hard and fast. Let's put a little pink circle around that. It started off Monday doing that, and it doesn't seem to be diminishing on any level whatsoever. We're going to make that pink again, and you can see it has gone in and out of it a couple times in a row now, and see the pressure is there where it came into buy of it after being in a sell, and then sell, and then back into buy last week, and now it is rolling over hard and fast. So Abed, is this a bid? Abed. Okay, cool. We had somebody who was a bid in on the Chicago Quant, so wasn't sure. Let's see, what do we have going on there? Speaking of which, if a bid is listening and watching, we have turned off the Azure. because you're 3 months behind. Just a reminder. All right. Let's see. Where are you? Let's see. Let's check out what else is going on here. I guess that's about it when it comes to why we look at the dollar pairs trade against the Swiss. It is a good insight on what's going on with the dollar. So they're selling the dollar down. Now, let's jump over to the euro, because I saw the euro looking very firm. Yesterday, it was very solid up, and now today it's trying to give us a little weakness. Now, I'm not even sure what that little red thing is there. What is that? I've never seen that before. Oh, I know what it is. It's the part of that RSI. Didn't realize it could do that. How about that? We're getting a little red mark from it because I guess, oh, I see why. Because it went up and touched its range. I get it. See how it has the top range there? That's what it did. It touched the top range style. There it is. See? The overbought area. So it's telling us that it's overbought up there. I see. Okay, that's interesting. And you can see here our work is just screaming up. It's been in a weekly buy from here. And we just keep on seeing strength. Now, when you go over to J4X, let's see what J4X is, because now that's an RSI, and we do. I think we threw the RSI. It's on the RSI, is on the J4X too. We're going to leave that up there for a little while just to observe it. I don't think it. I mean, it has some interesting insight. I did notice when my work breaks through it, like right now, you see how the white line is breaking down through it. Can be definitely signs of weakness to come. So that is kind of interesting, is how our work uses it as a primer. So you break through the RSI on our work, and it says don't be long. And you can see here, in this case here, we have the white line getting through the dotted line, and at the same time it's breaking down the RSI there, and that is the euro also. And you can see that the Hinky Ashy are doing their things. They're all green there, just like our dots are all green there. And this thing is trying to break down. So we'll see what they do there. Is this one of those things where someone asked me yesterday or the day before, they said, do you follow the 50 and the 200-day moving average? And it's like, no, but we know that if you do leave it on your chart, it's going to give you some insight to where institutions think about the marketplace, because they do follow the 50 and the 200-day moving average. So it's not necessarily as important as a tool itself as much as it is a way of following money trading the marketplace. All right. Let's see what else we have there. As we take a sip of our tea there at the same time. All right. Let's go over to the cable and see what the cable is doing. I don't see any particular questions kicking out on any product, so we'll just keep on rolling along until someone says, hey, speaking of which, if middle-aged muscles floating around, boy, I took a look at that 4-hour chart. It never did the triangle. It just rolled right over. I was kind of surprised on the oil there. Thought for sure the oil would want to fight its way back up over to the 46 the way it was acting. But it didn't. It rolled over, broke the bottom end of that triangle. So we have the count wrong on the triangle. So here it is there. Here is the cable, which you can see on the fact check spreadsheet. Went into a daily buy there yesterday, I think, right? Yeah, right there. Line 13. And we're 7 weeks in a buy. Went into a daily buy there, but today they're knocking it down again. They're hitting that resistance area. You can see our white line trying to roll over on that. And let's take a look at how it's acting on the J4X. Right there. And you'll be able to say, wow, look at the RSI there. It's burying itself. Now, in this case here, it never lifted. You can see here the white line broke there. Now, this broke up through there, and that was interesting. It reflected some of the strength there, but the white line has not been able to get going. We want to see the white line break that dotted line here, this dotted gold line, and that would indicate strength coming into the product. Very strongly it would indicate it with a 70 percentile signal, if not better. Whereas here, we did the same thing. Our system went through the time manifold. The white line went plus. The histogram obviously was plus with it. And we're in a weekly buy. And at the same time, it rolled over. So it gave us a shot up to there. And now today, it's trying to throw us right back into the sell there. And let's grab one of the cells over here. Or we'll grab this and Just put it in there like that. What do we got here? Let's call. Ooh. One of the traders called. Let's see how he's doing today. Let's see. Where's it at? There it is. Let's try that again. There we are. And so, a little weakness there. Let's see what one of the short-term traders is doing. I don't blame you being on the sidelines. Smart move there. Oh, no answer yet. There we are. So, we're looking at cable. Yeah, so I'm a little surprised there too. But again, this is that time of the year. I keep on trying to warn everybody. And I've been saying it for 2+ weeks. You just got it. It's almost like an intraday type of trading days. The continuity and consistency is just not there. Money has, due to taxes, due to the tax system, everybody, every institution and fund and mutual fund and everything else has to adjust themselves, and they don't exactly do it in like, okay, we're going to do it over the next 6-7 days. Sometimes they just come in and just do it. They say, okay, here's an opportunity, let's shut it out, done. And so they're trying to take profits and at the same time match losses against them so that they don't pay taxes on it. See, this tax system doesn't help anybody. I am a long dollar yen trader for 2 days now, thinking to extend a little further. Now, I found that to be Ferris. I found that interesting. I think it went into the daily buy yesterday, right? Let's just take a look at that. It's on the fact check spreadsheet. It's 17. No, that's not. The Turkish Lira is 17. Was it? 19. Yeah. So we're 11 weeks in a sell and 1 day in a buy. Let's take a look at that. Let's jump over to the yen right there. And you can see it's, it went into the buy yesterday and it's still lifting up. I don't know if it's what line we're playing here, but I would imagine it's something like there, more likely. Especially maybe like something like that due to these tops in here. So maybe there's some room for it to go. You can see the daily is trying to, the weekly is trying to break out for the first time in 1, 2. Let me just count it up again. There's a 3, 1, 2, and a 3, 1, 2, and a 3. That's 9, 10, 11. Okay, so it is 11. Just double checking. We like to check our spreadsheet all the time, even if, so forth and so on. And you can see here, it's trying to lift up and trying to get going there. So let's see what you're saying. I am long. So you want it to go to like 105, 106, 107, right? Yeah, well, it looks like it has great potential to do that right now. Now, I'm not even sure what the tax situation would be for them, but I would have to assume it's identical to everybody else on the planet. End of year, all that stuff. Or they have foreign investments and they're going to have to end of year. So maybe they need to cover shorts, and so this thing's going to go up or something like that. That's the only answer I have to that. Is I agree with you. It looks like there's really some strength trying to kick in, and you can see here it's going on its second day now of trying to lift, and we're also seeing the weekly try to lift, and that'll be interesting. Because if we get to Thursday and this thing's even higher, and then they don't knock it down, this thing's going to close in a buy. Now you can see here the last time it did that over in here. Let's just move this over a little bit for you. The last time it was in a long sell and went sideways, then went into the buy. There were some good days of taking profits, but overall it didn't survive more than 2 full weeks and then started to roll over again. So it'll be fleeting profits. Take them when you can. Now let's. I want to jump over to what's it called? The middle-aged muscle. Let's jump over to that real quick because I checked that out this morning too when I was going through the dailies. Let's just take a look at. We're going to deviate a little bit and jump over into the commodities and go. There's gold. You can see gold is relatively firm today again. And let's look at crude oil. Now, crude oil, by the end of the day, broke down, went into a daily sell. And I was hoping that you do catch the oil charts. And so you can see there it broke down. And you know what? With the Chicago Quant system, you can change a chart. If let's say you want to watch something for 3 days, just tell Robin, and we'll switch whatever you're watching, and then you can go back to whatever you're watching before, or change new ones, jump around. You know, you can switch back and forth. I don't have a problem with that. You know, it doesn't bother me. We might be a little sloppy about it, but overall, I think we can be efficient. So you can see here it broke down below that. So this wasn't the triangle. I don't know. Maybe the triangle started. I don't know. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. It should have hit this line and bounced up. Maybe it's a 7. Maybe it's that. You know. But then look at that. That's not exactly a flag anymore. It's a flat flag, right? Heading down. Let's see if it does that. But here we are going on our second day. But then look at the weekly. You know, we jumped into the weekly last week. Where's the buyers? Where are those weekly buyers? They're going to probably come in and haunt the shorts. They're going to probably chase them down sooner or later. You know, they'll put pressure on them. So that's something to think about. That they may try to lift this thing up. When we get back into a daily buy, it may be a 7 instead of a 5 flag. For those that don't know what I'm talking about, that are new here, R.N. Elliott, the Elliott wave inventor, W.D. Gann, the commodities technician who brought the Fibonacci sequence and the spiral into the financial markets at the turn of 2 centuries ago now, like 1905, 1910, 1920s, things like that, 1930s. W.D. Gann was younger than R.N. Elliott. And then there was a third person that not many people know, that one of the first official hedge funds, a fellow named Jones, is credited as being the first real hedge fund in America. And what happened was that they, in the later part of their lives, especially obviously R.N. Elliott, they all had offices on 47th Street, I believe it was, in Manhattan, and they had they opened up offices in the same block. Matter of fact, almost next door to each other, and they allegedly were working on a commingling of ideas. And R.N. Elliott and W.D. Gann brainstormed about triangles and so forth, and they said they had like 5 pattern and a 7 pattern, when it starts and where it ends, and that's the top of the flag, and so forth and so on statistically. And so that's what I'm talking about. In this case here, they had 2 different patterns. They had a 5 and a 7, and they were really hepped up on the 7. And this could be turning out to be a 7, this flag here. So we'll see if these 2 lines, these 2 green lines in the oil over the next couple of days hold up, and see if it is a 7. Because it obviously is not a 5. And what that means is that this is 1, this point here is 2, then before we moved it down, that was 3 right there. And then notice how it ran up to 4 yesterday. But by the end of the day, it broke it. Okay, which should have supported this line here. And this little bar, this cross here should be above the line, and it's not. So instead, this might be a 7. That would have been the 5. So now it's 1, 2, and now we're doing the 3 here. And then the 4 will be more than likely something like that. It's accentuated out like so. And it might, that's let's see, 1, 2, 3, which is fascinating where it actually did both. 3 and 4 because it was trapped inside the 5. And now, so this is the 3 ending really. And it'll go up and bang on that again above the 45, and then possibly drive down again into the low 40s. And then see if it breaks out of it when it does after the 7, after the 6, that is. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, a 7, hits the 7, and then lifts up after the 7 and goes back to this top of 46.26. And so that's what we're talking about when we're talking about a 5 flag versus a 7 flag. And it all has to do with R.N. Elliott and W.D. Gann. Yeah, I don't blame you. It's a good thing watching close, and it could be a 7. That's what it's looking like there now, is a 7. So, and let me show you, because I didn't delete I did not delete that chart. That's why I created a new one, because I thought it was fascinating to watch. Thought maybe it could be a learning lesson here. And so you can see it here. Let let me just go back to the daily chart for a second just to get a grasp. So what is that? That is the 24th. Okay. So now we go back to this one, and we go back to the 24th. So this is basically the start of it. And how we're defining it as a start is when it went to here and comes to there, we start to think, okay, you know, it's this trend here. So let's put a line to this and the flag that you see developing like that. So now you say, okay, well, if that's the top of it and it's starting to move down, then this must be the bottom of it here. I mean, you can use this as the bottom, but that's awful deep, and that would mean that it's coming deeper down, and we don't see that. The lows are not as shallow. I guess they're shallow. They're not as deep. So we define the starting point here from this gap. Also, they talked about it as a big bar too, you know, big move. So there's the 1, there's the 2 right here. So 1 starting, 2, and then we throw the bottom line in and show you again what we showed you on the daily. And that flag was developing right there. So it was 1, 2, 3, 4, and it didn't come up and touch it. And there's the, then it came down at 5. It did the, see, 1, 2, 3, didn't do the 4. So you can tighten this up because that was history at the time. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the 5 turns out to be deeper down, telling us that there's some problems here. Oop. So we want to grab a hold of this one now, try to bring it down. And so then we see it bounce off of that. So now we're saying, okay, 1, 2, but now the 3 didn't touch the line. What's wrong here? You know, what's going on? So then you're trying to tighten this up, and you see that the triangle is not forming right, and obviously it's not a 5. And so now we are looking at it this way and moving this line up here. And so now you have 1, 2, and this is the 3. But then you have 2 of these hitting each other. Again, a warning sign that it is obviously not a 5, and it could not even be possibly a 7. And we may be wrong about this whole thing. And, you know, and the next day or two, if this starts to break down, then obviously it was just one of those developing flags that failed. And so that's what our math usually does, is it usually gives us direction to the start of action like that. See this one here, and then you can see it breaking down here. Well, you can see it a lot of breakdown here, breaking through the time manifold and so forth. And then finally, you know, the breakdown here matching up with that, and, you know, seeing a weakness, and it does look like the triangle trying to form, but I don't know. I don't see a clear 5 or a 7 at this point, but we'll see how this flat, they usually call this a flat flag or a pennant, a flat pennant or a flag, either one they play with it. Yeah, there's some stories written about it. It's relatively it's become kind of like an aware thing. You know, people, you know, over the last decade now are starting to realize that. I read some stuff. I guess it was back in the 90s or the turn of the century, you know, around 2001 about it. And over the last 20 years, more stories come out of it, but not a lot. It was very secretive. Jones was, like I said, the first hedge fund, and most of the successful hedge funds are really secretive. And once in a while, you know, you see like what's the one that's in Chicago that's relatively popular and known? I can't think of it at the moment. Dominion. Is it Dominion? No, that's a. Anyway, there's one in Chicago. And you know, they don't really show you what they do. They just tell you what their successes are at the end of the year, or a Renaissance. You know, they don't tell you what they're doing, but they tell you what their successes are financially. You know, by the books themselves. No, Vanguard is Pennsylvania. But thanks, Josh. What is it? Citadel. That's what I'm thinking of. Citadel. One of my partners worked for Citadel after we broke up our organization over a couple decades. He was one of the top option guys at Citadel, and I'd imagine, you know, he has some good stories. But I mean, I don't think they're. Let's put it this way: I can't imagine them doing anything particularly more than what we already know. Being an options trader myself for many decades, and being at the beginning of the options era, I doubt that they were doing anything too crafty. I mean, I'm not. Let me rephrase that. I don't think they were doing anything new of being crafty. In other words, a new concepts. I doubt there's new concepts. I would imagine they were doing things like, selling premium in ranges. That's what Renaissance does. Hedged, but not taking big risk. Looking for opportunity where they can get 100% on their option trade, that type of thing, which is not that far-fetched. Option trades can generate incredible amounts of money. So in the end result, I think, I had one, it did something crazy like 700-fold. A 700-fold return. It was amazing. For a $30,000 risk, it generated over $66 million. So yeah, I mean, you can really end up making a lot of money from options. It's a challenging thing. People get a little confused. It's, so forth and so on. But if you play it right, you'll do fine. And what I mean by playing it right is not take big risk. That's the whole idea of options, to try to limit it. Whereas Vanguard, that's John Vogel, the late, great John Vogel, who created a lot of funds that emulated different sectors and basically proved that that the sectors themselves are much more efficient than the managers managing them. And so he was basically pushing the idea to don't invest in 2 and 20s. They're a waste of money. There are very few 2 and 20s you could trust. A Renaissance, and they're not even 2 and 20 anymore. I don't think they have a hedge fund anymore. They have an ETF. And then Citadel, I imagine most of these things, they don't charge 2 and 20 to begin with. Citadel and Renaissance charge like 3 and 30 or 3 and 35 or 3 and 40, that type of thing. They take a good sized profit out of it because they make good money. So, but for some reason the media plays up other people. I guess, they may do things to make the media want to talk to them. Who knows? But anyway, that's where we're at. All right, now let's head back. We're moving away from the oil. Let's go back to the currencies again. Where did we leave off? Right there. We left off at let me just double check this. I think it was cable there, right? Yeah, cable. So let's jump over to, we usually go to the Turkish Lira from there. So let's see what they're doing. You see it's trying to, after 3 days of red dots, and a volatility situation starting to kick out. And you can see there, it's breaking through the upside here. Our weekly's not breaking down. If this thing doesn't break down this week, we're going to be 53 weeks. We'll be 1 year and 1 week in a weekly buy. My God, it just keeps on rolling along. 30K into over 60, 66 point something. I know. That was a wild one. That was, what it was in Juniper. Do you trade stocks at all? Juniper was trading up around 200 and some odd dollars a share. We put a back spread on it. What was it? I sold like 2,000 puts, like 2,100 puts or 1,700 puts, something like that, and bought something like 31 or 3,500 puts. So it was like 2,200 puts or 1,700 puts. I don't remember now anymore, but I remember the numbers out of it. And it was like, I want to say it was 1,700 and some odd puts, like 1,750 puts we sold. Bought something like 33 or 3,600 puts. The stock was trading around 211 or so, something like that. It was set up in the 175, 195 area. So I sold like 1,700 of the 190s or 195 puts. Bought 30 some, over 3,000 of the 175 puts. Took, I think what we did is we took in $30,000, but we were really risking $30,000 in the end result. So in other words, if it didn't do what it was supposed to do, we were going to lose $30,000. That the worst case scenario out of it all. And so what happened was the internet bubble occurred. Stock fell down to, I don't know, $26 or $50. So basically, imagine $50 a share, and it fell from the 175 put we were long. So we lost between 175 and 190, I guess it was. We lost $1,500, 17,000 times, right? but then we turned around and made $125 33 or 3,200 times. So, it was a real distortion, so it was one of the better ones that I've come up with in a long while. It was fascinating at the time. It was just under 67 million. So that's what options can do for you if you do it smart at the right periods of time. We were following our math. I was very bearish, and we thought Juniper was going to go down to like 130 or something like that. Figured we'd make like maybe a couple $1 million from it, but the thing just collapsed with the rest of the internet at the time, and it went down. So that's how that works. All right, so there's Turkish Lira. You can see this thing is trying to do its correction thing here. This big, let me just put a big square around it or something like that. This is where they've changed the finance minister and the sovereign fund manager, who was the same person. And so they're putting a little life into the product. It could literally be end of year, and they're using it as an excuse. In other words, for taxes and so forth. This could be literally an end of year move more than anything else, where all these profits, look at this thing. When you really look at the Turkish Lira, it has, let's rewind that like that. So the Turkish Lira over the last 12 months has gone from 5 and change, almost 6, right? 585, say, to 8.5, right? Something like that. So that's a pretty big move. That's a 50%. Is it 50%? It's over 50%. So there's got to be a lot of profits out there. Someone's got to take some profits, offset some losses somewhere. This way they don't pay taxes on it. And so that's probably what's going on out of that whole thing. Boy, it got very close here. Very close to going into the weekly sell. But it's been in a weekly buy since back here now. So, let's see. Let's just widen that out again. And that's where you see it on the spreadsheet there. Wacko City. 50. No, that's a yen. 11 weeks. There it is right there. It's line 17. 52 weeks. Like cards now. My God. What do you think about the maximum a citizen should be able to make a year? I think that's communism, right? What do you think about Soviet Union and the CCP and so forth? What do you think of that one? What do you think of Venezuela and Cuba? Do you live in any of those countries? I don't think we have any members that live in any of those countries, do we? Well, the Soviet Union is totally defunct, right? So, Canada, right. So, I don't know. Are you thinking about moving to Venezuela or Cuba or stuff like that, or what? That's what your suggestion, right? Of the idea of limiting the amount of people being able to think, grow, speculate, develop, anticipate, gamble, right? That's what you're really asking. What do you think the maximum a citizen should be able to make? I would say as much as they can. Why would I want to limit anybody from being able to use their mind and their ideas and so forth? Do you think that's a good thing? I guess that's the best way to answer it is, do you believe limiting people from being able to think and develop and explore and speculate and anticipate and so forth, do you think that's a good thing to limit people? I don't. I think it's a bad thing. So as far as I'm concerned, I don't think anybody should be limited to anything, and that's legal. As long as it's legal, let them fly. That's my attitude about it all. All right. I'm curious. Do you want to enslave people? Is that what you're interested in? If it causes shock waves in the financial system. Shock waves in the financial system. What creates shock waves in the financial system? Investors? Investors have always created shock waves, since the dawn of time. Do you believe that there's like a utopia? We can build a utopia? Isn't that heaven? Aren't you supposed to be dead for utopia? I don't think there is a utopia on Earth, right? When you're alive on this plane. Up to you to tell me that one. I didn't think you could build a utopia. That would mean something's perfect, right? I don't think anything is perfect. Not even my math. And it's damn close. Let's see, where are we at here? So now, let's go to Canadian. Speaking of which, here we are. We're looking at Canadian. Canadian's been down for a couple days. You can see the weeklies for a few weeks. So, say 35 to 300,000. Why? Why those numbers? And who would be the arbiter to decide how much someone can make? Again, you're promoting socialism and communism. So, you know, I've not seen any successes so far on the planet. You want to show me somewhere where it's very successful? They've been able to figure out how to limit people, and they're all living happy and in a much better universe in America. There we go. You can see here the Canadian is moving down nicely. And let's see. I guess that's about it with the Canadian. It's kind of interesting. Usually when the Canadian's going down, the oil is going up. We see that action. Let's see. I'm waiting for Josh to tell us where all the socialist places are that everybody wants to move to. Due to the effort it takes. Effort of what? So you think that everybody should have your ability only? Or somebody that you appoint have their ability only and tell everybody else? That reminds me of Kurt Vonnegut, where he wrote that story about limiting people's abilities and the chaos of it all. I don't know. I think you have to, Josh, tell me a place that has socialism that you would want to move to. I guess that's the best thing of all, right? Then that would be a good example for us to understand. I would like to make $1 million a year. There you go. I think God bless you. Go for it. I like the idea. I have no interest to enslave anybody. I think that enslavement thing is really bad. Okay. All right. So we're pretty much now what we do is we take a look at NASCAD. And because the NAS, it's kind of like a clean view of the Canadian in some aspect, and it's also the oil thing, and you can see it's been climbing, and I guess we can go back to Canadian like right there, and it's been dropping, and let's go to NASCAD again, NASCAD, and so. That's where we usually move over to the oil market, which we've already looked at once, but we can definitely look at it again. Josh, got any particular country you want to tell us how fantastic their socialism is? Well, yeah, you did. You said you want to limit people from being free. You said you want to stop them from making whatever they can make. What was your first words? Something about what do you think the idea of maximizing a citizen should be able to make a year? Yeah. So that's a law, right? Or is it voluntary? Just give us a couple of socialist countries that are doing really fantastic, and we'll be able to see if it makes any sense. We'll see, if they're bigger than the United States or if the people are living happier and so forth. I don't understand this fascination by socialism at all. What's up with the slavery thing nowadays? Why do young people or people in general want to enslave other people? I'm confused. I thought that was supposed to be a bad thing. So you can only make X amount of money, and you'll be happy with it. All right, let's go over to crude oil again. You will be my slave. All right, there's crude oil, and we did look at that triangle, and like I said, it's showing a lot of strength, which kind of insinuates we should see NASCAD go up and Canadian go down. They seem to have that tendency, those particular products. And also at the same time, when Canadian is going down, a lot of times Turkish Lira is too. But again, I'm guessing more Turkish Lira could be literally a tax situation more than anything else, kind of being masked by the politics. Yeah. I go with Ferris there. Check out Venezuela. Yeah. Could you take a look at silver? Yeah, did you see that move in silver? And notice Bitcoin backed off with the metals going up too. Let's go check that out. There's silver. There's March silver. Still being pretty firm today. You can see it's climbing through the weekly. I wish gold would climb through the weekly. That would give me a lot of interesting view that we're seeing a metal move on the upside. And so there's silver. And we've been in a buy for, this is 2 full days now. And you can see it's showing a lot of strength there. But the weekly, we came in a weekly. Last week it went into a weekly sell. Fascinating. So you couldn't be short because we closed on a buy too at the same time. So let's see. And then let's see. What else can we look at? Let's look at gold. So there's February gold. February gold's trying to do the same thing. And it's getting a little bit better towards the zero line there. Let's refresh that. So the metals are moving up. And I think we're going to jump over to Bitcoin from there just to show you the three like the triad there. And then here is Bitcoin. Where is Bitcoin? There it is right there. Let's see. Oh, yeah, that's what happened. Bitcoin was selling down hard yesterday. That's right. And then all of a sudden it came back up again and closed in a buy. So now we've got Bitcoin going up, we got silver going up, and we have notice they did try to top it out a little bit. Went into the sell here for it, but again, it's a lot of sloppiness, and it's holding its weekly buy really comfortably. So the metals are holding up very well, and the Bitcoin seems to be firm. I guess they're profit taking from the all-time high there, and I guess we're going to see some action move towards I don't know. And this is end of the year too. Now this is fascinating. Think about that. Whereas Bitcoin, where there are a lot of people just short Bitcoin, and are we seeing a short squeeze? And so, or let's see, it's going up, right? So you would assume that the buyers are buying. And you can see the weekly buyers are buying. So are they covering shorts? Let's see where this, I don't know if we can see that. If we can't, we'll go to let's go to Dukascopy and take a look at it. And let's make it big. Let's go find Bitcoin all the way back 12 months ago. I think it was up in the tens, right? So there's not a lot of, I guess the shorts would be trapped. Right. I think Bitcoin was like 10 something. There it is. And then we're going to throw a weekly in there. And so Bitcoin going into January was in the 10s, 12s, right around there. What, 10s and change? That's 12, this line right here. So that line is 10 something, right? That's 9. No, it's not 8 or 9. So this could literally, they could have shorts really trapped in here trying to buy the futures contract. Not counting you have Citibank saying it's going to 119,000 and no, I'm sorry, who was it? Daniel was saying, somebody around here said 119,000, maybe JPM or something like that. And then Citi comes out and says 300 and change a coin. And yeah, like I'm going to trust Citibank. But and then, you have a couple different people saying these wild numbers there. There's Daniel. if it fails to hold the the 2000 basically, or the 19,200, or at least 1900, and Ethereum, if it fails to hold the 600, it's a bearish for cryptos. Is that what it is? Hey Daniel, yeah, I was just quoting you. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out the tax implications by looking at the J4X chart there. I mean, it was in the nines in January, right? And so, could this have been a short squeeze more than anything else? I did see. Did you see Guggenheim, which I think is really poorly managed to begin with? But the fund, the Guggenheim, basically they stepped up and bought $531 million worth of Bitcoin last week. I guess it was like last Thursday. So that could have been pressure in its own right. I mean that, and they may have been nibbling, and maybe they stepped up more. Remember, this is not a real liquid product, and this looks more like a short squeeze. That's the chart there going all the way back to January. It was in the 8s and 9s, so it doubled. They may have had and I don't know if there's a lot of risk in there to begin with, in the sense of a lot of shorts. I don't know if there's a lot of shorts. They can short the futures contract, so that puts pressure on it. And Ferris, thank you very much about that, Venezuela and so forth. So trading. What trading, Josh? Limit to 35,000 to 300,000 in trading? I don't get it. What's this enslaved thing you got going? Is this like an S&M thing or what? What is that stuff, man? What's this S&M stuff you're getting into? Why do you want to enslave people? Let's see, Robin. Quant trading in the Swiss Army knife marketplace. Thank you, Robin. Toolbox. I like that. Where was I doing that yesterday? I was telling somebody about that. I like that. So, that is, I guess that's where it's at, that could have been a short squeeze more than anything else. I guess we'll keep an eye on the $600 area too. I think it wants to go higher, though. I really do. I think it's more than just a short squeeze. I think, when you have calls and puts and futures on a product, and you have Citibank saying 300,000, and you have JPM saying 100 and change, and then obviously Daniel has 100 and change. It's awful hard for a money manager not to want to at least put their toes into this stuff. Buy 1% or 2% of their portfolio. I mean, really. I mean, what's the difference if they put out, $30-40 million? I mean, honestly, when they're managing, 10, anywhere from 5 billion to 10 billion, or some of these funds 20 billion, or even it's only 2 or 3 billion. I mean, what's $30,000? I mean, it's not a lot. I'm sorry, what's $30 million? I mean, it's not a lot, really. I mean, that is literally a rounding number, and so and it's something that could possibly go from 15,000 or 20,000 to 100,000, 5 to 1. Or Citibank comes out and says it could go to over 300,000 over a 3 to 5 year period. Money managers have got to take that serious. Let's put it this way: I guarantee you that their investors are saying to them, "Are you buying it? Are you looking at these cryptos? What do you think about that?" They're asking them, and trust me, these funds, these hedge funds and mutual funds and so forth, they listen to what their investors have to say. They listen to them very clearly. So, here's Josh. Let's see what he's got here. Yeah, was just a question because I wanted to see if you think everyone should be able to make the same trading. Got that socialism thing going on, huh? All right. Or if some should be able to make more in order to get better idea of the sandbox. Yeah, I go with creative destruction and the sandbox. What's the fastest way to become a fund manager? I guess what is that? There's one license that you can get that'll do it. What's it? I keep on wanting to say. Let's see. There's a license out there that'll help you. And then there's another one in Robin. What's the one in the future side? But there's one on the equity side called. CFA, certified financial. No, that's a certified financial accountant, I think it is. But there's a not a CPA, not a something certified financial something or another, and it's kind of like taking a CPA license, and you get that, and you get some experience. You join a fund, and you get a couple years of experience, and then you can do the sell side or the buy side of it. Work selling it to clients or the trader side of it. Then I would say, a degree in finance and or economics and understanding the derivatives world. Getting certified. I don't know if you can get certified in the derivatives world. Trading options and so forth. I think they're the ways to really do it. The funds are really having problems right now. The 2 and 20 is almost dead. I mean, there are very few of them making any money. So, CFA, that's it. Certified Financial Analyst, that's it. Thanks, Ferris. I knew it was something like that. That would be the best way. And it took a what? It's like it seems to be about as intense as a CPA, certified public accountant, right? I mean, it's months and months of. I've had a couple friends that got them, and they had to take classes and they had to pass tests and it dragged on. Now they were floor members. They thought they would go do that. Then they got that and they found they're like you. This is a long time ago too. This is in the 80s and the 90s. And they did that, and then they realized that it just didn't have as much juice as they thought it would, even being a member of an exchange and getting a CFA. And so then they went off and got a PhD in economics. It's 3 levels? Okay. Chartered market technicians. Well, I know that. Oh, that's interesting. I know there's the Market Technicians Association. So there's another one too, a Chartered Market Technicians. I would imagine that would help out also. I think it takes a combination of all of it, and then working in the industry as a low level player for a little bit, and then breaking out from there. To me, if let me say, if I was taking the Josh attitude about this particular topic, to me, I would say the most maximizing way and the best way to not limit, of course, but like a limit in function of how to be a manager. I would say all managers be totally understanding of all derivatives. In other words, options and futures, but obviously options are more complicated than futures. So they would have to have a license, some type of official license in options, that they understand all of option trading and strategies and understand the risk of options totally. I mean, well beyond the Series 7. I mean, like, if I said to them, what do you think doing the butterfly and then a bear spread with the butterfly and then a call spread with the butterfly, like a disconnected condor of some form, that type of thing. And they understood exactly what I was talking about and they could visualize it. I think that to me, and then they'd have to have like the CFA at the same time, understand analysis of equity. In other words, fundamentals that like Janos here at Dukascopy talks about, or does part of, and I think it would be a combination of a CFA, and I don't even think did they even provide a listed options expert license of any form. I think it would be something like that, However, Daniel says, since a hedge fund manager is in a position of acting as an investment advisor, he may be required to take the Series 65 exam, obtain the Series 65 license according to the invest. Okay. I tried options a bit with Motive Wave, but prefer the liquidity of Forex and CFDSs. Okay, yeah. Motive Wave. Is that a company or like a website? Motive Wave? Let me Google that real quick and see what that says. Motive Wave. Yeah, I would take it in that direction. I would think that would be the best way, because I think that the option, like if you go and look, the webinar is getting towards the end, but if you go and look at all the hedge funds that are out there, okay, and all the funds that are out there. The long short funds are very limited. I had a long short fund. There were only 6 of them out of something crazy like 5,000 funds in the United States. There were only like 5 or 6 of them. That's it. A long short hedge fund, a true long short option hedge fund. That's it. 5 or 6 out of a universe of 5,000. That's outrageous. I mean, wow. Talk about, nosebleed. Being way, way up there. We shut our fund down. We made 26% for the year. We were bored. And we made 26% for the year. And a normal fund would be like, dying to make 26% a year. Hell, we thought this is too boring to run public money this way. We couldn't agree on certain things. So, all we did is made 26% for the year. So we shut it down because it was like, we're bored. Just go trade for ourselves again. Oh, it's a TradeStation program. Okay. I'll have to take a look at that. I have a copy of 2000i, and I'll take a look and see if I can grab that and put it on it and take a look at that. So, we didn't really go too far. We just looked at gold and silver and gold, silver, and oil today on the commodity side. Anybody want to see anything before I sign off? I'll throw it up on the top, throw it on the screen for a second or two here. Yeah, no problem, Daniel. Just another day. It's another day of the electronic pit here. As I was saying yesterday, this is the electronic pit. It's like standing in a crowd. Someone says something like Josh did, and we all jump on him. And then in the end result, we jump on somebody else, and then Josh is, one moment he's with the gang, then he's not with the gang, and then Daniel's with the gang, and then Doc's with the gang, and then we're not with the gang, and we have crazy ideas. That's what that's what trading pits used to be like. That's exactly trading crowds on the equity side, trading pits on the future side. That's how they were. People were throwing ideas out there. They're looking at things because remember, you were being reactive. You didn't have to think too hard about the trade. It was just like orders are coming in, you're buying, trying to sell them on the offer, that type of thing. Let's see. Dana says thanks. Let's see. Oil bearish, gold bullish, dollar bearish. Yeah, that's all the beginning of the month. I hear you. All right. This is Doc from North America in the electronic trading pit. We'll catch you guys somewhere on the in our crowd again tomorrow. All right. Happy trails to you until we meet again. And that'll be Thursday. Happy trails to you, to all my trading friends in this crowd or pit.